possibilities. Yeah, I see all the possibilities. So like, obviously that's going to be a fun one for Dustin because I'm a creator. So there's something around that, Bill, these bringing on of clients, kind of doing diligence, research, working with, their teams and my teams, so that's kind of cool, right? So
And what's the exciting part of that though? Is
I
it the
think,
is it the landing the client, or is it the guiding them to higher levels?
I don't know, I feel torn. I feel like both, right? The ego side of me is, oh, I'm putting points up on the board, right? I got us a client. But that's short term. It doesn't feel as good as helping those folks get to higher levels, right, in their business.
Because one of the things that you spoke to was the empathy in really getting to know them.
Yeah, yeah.
And what is the benefit of that? It wasn't to get them signed up.
Relationships, I realize I
Right.
crave relationship and talking to people and uh, yeah. An example, Bill, is so this guy trading with the pros, he sends me a text, and I feel like the opportunities are just coming. And so this guy that we just signed, right? He obviously feels safe and secure because he reached out to me and he said, "Hey, we just acquired another business. It's something that I have to oversee and manage and whatever." And so he's like, I think I want to bring you guys in. So yesterday, like it just came like that. I'm like, great, let's get on a call. So I got on a call, I heard him out. Um, I communicated to Joe and Shay, got them excited. Um, and it seems like a great opportunity as well. They're already spending lots of money. They're having some level of success. They have a floor sales team, which really helps when you're a marketer, right? When you're generating leads and you've got people on the phone that can upsell into higher packages. So, like that energy, that excitement, that discovery, that helping him find a way.
In the
That's
in the
exciting.
past, with all of the clients across the board, and this could be, hidden, subversive. Has there been an energy in media, and in the culture, of fear of the clients not doing well?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah, absolutely there has been as I think about it now. Feedback that I've got as I think about our Argentinian team, Victoria on her way out, we introduced this scorecard system and now everyone could see across the organization. And there's a whole lot of red on those numbers. Now it doesn't mean like media O's in the red, but what Vico told me is like, that's concerning when you guys don't communicate the success and all we see is red, like we don't think we're winning, when we see people getting fired or let
Yeah.
go. So there's that.
So, because what I'm getting, before you go further with that,
Sure.
what I got intuitively as you were speaking and talking about how much you've enjoyed the relationship that you've established with this new client, that's the answer to getting all of your clients. It's a much tighter working relationship on a more of an empathetic working relationship basis, not avoiding them, but getting more intimate.
Yeah. 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 For
How does
sure.
that strike you just energetically?
I think it's happening. Like tax lien code is a client, not with me in particular, but with Joe and Shay, there's a lot of fear coming from them, which comes to us about, the event business isn't going away. We need to reinvent ourselves. MFM, very similarly, like I feel like Joe and Shay have made some progress. They finally paid us some back bonuses, and there's this intimacy level now I feel with MFM. And then with this client, I feel very intimate. So I do see that is the path.
Because if there's an underlying fear of loss in the culture,
Yeah,
that would prevent, that's what would be getting created, but it would really stymie the relationships. And when you spoke about the relationship with this new client, uh, and how much you like that,
yeah.
I just it felt like that's been missing.
Well, what's interesting to inject into our conversation is agency 2.0. That's really born out of fear, and the fear, you might be, let's just call it fear, but like, someone might say, well, that's risk management, meaning like one day tax lien code could wake up and say we're done, or they could get nailed by the FTC, right? So there is this fear, and thus agency 2.0 was built, or in the process of being built, which I'm overseeing. Which, Bill, it's been interesting. I've battled in my head with agency 2.0. I think you've caught it, right? I call it a plumber. I call it cookie cutter. These are not words that gel with Dustin typically, well, at all. And so, but what I don't have the clarity on, I see why the need is there to create something like a 2.0, because it is very volatile, the traditional media business model, right? Like if our clients don't profit, we don't profit. We're not making money on the retainer. So thus, it's weird. I've been at mental odds with agency 2.0. And I think Shay too, we talked about this, right? Like we're going to do capital raising. And then like, I don't think I told you this yet, but he's like, maybe we should go do attorney. So it's like this lack of decision, or the energy, right, is not good. And thus, I'm not aligned. Shay's questioning the niche. So what do I do to get that clarity? What do I do to change? I guess it's change the energy. And I've got to change that energy in someone else, right? Well, I can't change it in anyone. That's right. Got to change it myself first.
Well, yeah, there's you've got to get more information on it. That's through proof of concept.
Yeah.
Because that's what'll really show what
Yeah.
it's, again, the whole part of that is it's not as much who you're doing it for as the size companies you're doing it for.
Yeah.
Like there's some number there. I mean, then that and you can kind of do that across the board. I don't know how you vet out in the different channels that dollar amount, but that to me seems to be what that whole 2.0 is going to be.
Yeah.
What's this consultant coach telling you?
I mean, I think he's trying to pull us down the path. And so I think the last thing we presented to him was capital raising. And so Shay asked me to create a video around attorneys and send it to him and get that guy's input. If I'm in that guy's shoes and reading his body language, like I saw this in Speaking Empire, Bill, like fear of commitment prevents you from moving forward. And, if you've got a Speaking Empire like coaching program, right, you're trying to get them to a result, get your presentation done, right? Like it reminds me of that. So I guarantee you this guy, and we only talk with him like once a week, he's going to say, just go capital raising. because he realizes, like you, Bill, and me, you just got to get to proof of concept. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the issue with it is who you're going to do it for.
yeah,
I think it's more about what you're going to offer and the size company you're going to offer it to.
yeah,
And that in and of itself can cause confusion up front, but you really need to run a proof of concept, and the easiest space is in the
yeah,
capital raising to do that.
yeah. I agree. I agree. Yeah, it's real interesting. You're right. Like I feel like there's this lack of commitment and clarity. Let me just inject this into our combo. So yesterday I had a call with Joe and Shay about Wealth Fit, and Bill, I basically walked them through why we should let this go and called Wealth Fit a distraction. I showed the financials of Wealth Fit. We're upside down 33,000 this month. I showed them at Media O, um, we pay them a retainer, but like people are spending more time on WealthFit in the WealthFit book than the retainer allows. So we're upside down at Media O. I said, it's sucking up my time. And I said, guys, WealthFit's now a distraction to Media O. And so I thought I had it nailed in terms of like making them realize this. But Shay was like, well, and so I recommended, I said, guys, I think we should hand this back. And so Shay came back and said, well, instead, why don't we go to them and say, we paid 200,000 in, and that represents 40% equity, let's call it. So what we want to do is keep our equity. You guys have 60% equity or whatever the numbers are. And, like we'll continue to try to grow it, which, how that's going to go, Bill. Like it's going to be the stepchild last on the list. And so he wants me to record a video and send that to Than and Paul. Um, yeah, and you get the reason why he wants me
No,
to do
because it
that.
doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, his rationale is if they take WealthFit back, they're going to throw it in the trash. So at least with us, we've got 40% equity. We have somewhat of a vested interest, right? They're not going to go run this thing. And so by allowing us to do this deal in this way, they have another shot, a moonshot at money. To me,
No,
it's so
I
messy.
get that,
Yeah,
it's still eating up lost opportunity time on your part.
I agree. I totally
That's the
agree.
issue.
So it's this kind of stuff where I feel like, like I don't, I almost feel it's like, man, just hang on as long as you can, right? Don't throw the towel in ever. From Joe and Shin. I don't know if that's a culture thing or what, but I think I'm smart enough now in life to realize like you do throw in the towel so you can create space for new things to emerge. But Joe and Shay don't seem to do that, right? Like we have bad clients, we hang on to people that don't pay us. And I think for the most part, that's worked out for them, right? But uh, so
Yeah. The things you don't do are more important than the things you do.
yeah,
I mean, I'll just like, that's just, excuse me, but that's fucked up thinking on Wealth Fit.
I know. I laid the case out. I took a stand and I thought I made it just obvious to them. Um,
He
but
must, he's got to be in, on a guilt trip about, not living up to the commitment.
I mean, maybe, yeah,
It would
maybe.
have to be. I mean,
I mean, he,
there's no
yeah,
other reason why you would propose that after you just said we should just give it back. Is this I, it isn't about saving your 200. It's about having the time to go out and make money.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, what I can't even imagine what Dan and Paul's reaction to that would be.
Hopefully, it's hell no. we don't like risk. We don't want to be your partners. And they say, give it back. And then that's the end of it. Like that is the best case. It's almost like me at Aspire. Remember that? It was such a shit show. And then I ended up getting fired from it. And Joe took over. Like, what a blessing that was. I'm hoping for that kind of blessing here.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, I wanted to share that with you so you can. I mean, I think you already know who Joe and Shay are, and I think a lot of this is driven by Shay. You know, Joe didn't have an opinion one way or the other. So yeah, it's almost that fear of letting go of something, Bill. It's like the ropes course, right? You got to let go of this rope so you can get to that one. And I kind of feel like that's the energy. And it's almost like we're waiting for that thing to pop, you know?
Well, it doesn't. When you look at uh when you look at where WealthFit is at today, it just doesn't make what they're proposing doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's obvious. And
Because on that, there's not I mean, the chances of a miracle saving it are slim.
yeah, I mean,
Unless there's a plan put together and it's aggressively adhered to.
yeah, basically, Bill, like the plan is like no one spends more time on WealthFit because right now we pay media or retainer 7,500. I told them, listen, I can get us break even profitable slightly by July because I've cut a lot of stuff, and the biggest thing we have to cut is Medio's retainer based on what I'm projecting on revenue. But essentially, like we're just keeping on something that is going to just kind of atrophy. So
Right.
anyway, like you already get it. Here's my plan of action. You know, they're my partners. They're the majority. I'm going to record a video for Than and send it. And here's my plan, just so you're aware. The plan is here was the original vision. Here's where we're at. A lot of the stuff we talked about when we took over, it was 130,000 on the email list. It's only 10,000. We launched a book. All the reasons why, right? And then here's the P&L. And so here's what we propose. And that's really the essence of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it is. So I don't think we need to spend more time on it unless you have some observation. But
no, that I mean, there is one good thing about it. It is a definitive step.
yes, yeah,
And
yeah,
maybe, um, you know, maybe what Joe or Shay are saying about it is makes all the difference in the world. Is the best thing to do is find out. But
yeah,
it's some movement back to Than and Paul, and yeah,
yeah.
it's certainly it's going to create a reaction of some sort,
Yeah,
whatever it might be.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I feel good about that, right? Because it's a step. So, um,
and
so
when you do that, the way and the way I would express it to them is say, "Hey, I met with Joe and Shay,
yeah,
and we discussed all the different options, and here's what they're proposing."
okay,
So, you know, in other words, you're not against it, but it's not your idea.
oh, okay, that's good because I would have said we got it. Okay, I like that. That feels better because, yeah, good.
Yeah, and then see what happens.
Yeah, okay.
So what about your clarity now?
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess all of this is kind of reasons why, but it's all just noise and BS. Um, Here's what I know: the energy feels good on revenue. The energy feels good on partnership. Meaning, like, I love the traditional media optimizers model. It's collaborative. When they make money, we make money. Yeah, there's issues, right? You know, if their business doesn't go, we don't grow. But I know that feels right to me, Bill.
Mhm.
That's what I know. So I don't know. I almost have like a secret vision for media. Now, it doesn't lead to, at this moment in time, like, I don't see a path to an exit. So if that is ultimately our goal, is to build something, I don't really see that path yet. And maybe that's okay. But
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that right in this moment
yeah,
because there isn't one.
yeah,
And I think what's more important here out of everything we've talked about, you know, but I think there's two things. A, it's about you stepping up to a new level.
yeah,
Uh, in fact, in that podcast, they talked about you becoming the conductor, when
yeah,
which we've talked about in the past. And I
yeah.
think, and the key to it, Dustin, is the thing that really turns you on, and that's physical relationships
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
that empathy. And I think that that holds true all the way across the board,
yeah,
and getting a new infusion in the culture around that.
yeah. Well, what's interesting is, so here's my secret vision. It's like, Bill, we're the best in the world at events, event marketing. So although we don't understand what the model looks like yet, but like, how do I go and build the business? Like, let's say the guy does one annual event a year. Is agency 2.0 some sort of like event? And so it's, what's interesting about this as an observation is, I like physical, physical, right? So events make sense. So it's like, to me, it's like, man, we're the best damn agency in the world. If we're working with Aspire, and we've worked with Tony Robbins, like, the sales process is going to be so damn easy to go get the guy that does one annual event a year. The question is how do we build a profitable model around that? So that's kind of been floating in my head for a while. Going to capital raising, going and doing it. I just, and I don't know if that's my own personal agenda, my bias towards live interaction and events and education, and that's gone unspoken.
Well, again, you can't really look at like I get it,
Yep.
but you know what the key energetic components are.
Uh huh.
You've got to see where the game's going to be played. So you're asking to, you're asking yourself questions that you can't answer when you go to this 2.0 model.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's going to determine the success of that 2.0 model is the leverage in the execution.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to be resolved,
Yeah.
because there's, again, you don't understand, like the question you're just asking is a very, very legitimate question. However, there's, the carrot on the end of the stick is that somebody gets the opportunity to work with Media O.
Right. Yep.
So like that's the big deal, number one. Number two, it's leverage execution.
Yeah.
So when you look at those two, you've got to go in and do some proof of concepts to see who's out there that wants to step up and play bigger.
Yeah.
And I don't think you want to look at it. Um, it may not even be in terms of doing an annual event or doing an event at all. And then again, it may be those things don't matter. The thing that does
Okay.
matter is the leverage of the execution.
Yeah.
What is the leverage? What is the execution that you leverage at that number, if it's 5,000, 7,000, whatever, that you leverage to attract a certain size company? Because
Yeah.
at those numbers, there's um, quite a spread of the kind of companies you could work with,
Yeah.
right? So it's more. It isn't about the companies. It's about what works for you guys and what's going to satisfy where you can get those numbers and bring on 200 companies.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it may be smaller companies. It could be a variety of different things.
Yeah.
It could be,
Yeah.
you know, um, and I mean, there's other spaces, and maybe it is, and maybe the program's built around somebody doing one live event a year, and that's the way the execution is set up.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's hitting me for the first time is like you say leverage execution. I got it. That's the question I think we're trying to solve. In fact, Shay's like posting in Slack, like this 5K model, we want to outsource some of it, meaning there's a pay-per-click company that will do a lot. They're like a white label service, if you will. So it's
Yeah,
still right. Oh, you get it. So there's some hesitancy there. I don't think that we got to get some clarity on. So that's permeating the company right now. Like we're unsure on that. We're kind of turning to Joe for that because he's our COO. And I don't know that he has the clarity. It's not his job. It's all our job, right?
no, I don't think anybody has the clarity. Um,
Yeah.
and it's, you've got, if you look at it honestly, I would say if you really went after it, set some targets, bring some people in that pay you, start building out the execution. You're looking at maybe like a 6-month process to sort it out.
Yeah.
And remember, the sorting out, it's not as much what you're going to do in the market, it's what you're going to do for you.
Yeah.
That's what you're really after.
Yeah.
It isn't like, oh no, yeah, we're just going to go out and get plastic surgeons, whatever.
Yeah.
It's it's no, we have the behemoth with the big name, and when that carrot's put on the table in front of somebody, who is it that's
Yeah.
going to want to take a big bite out of that carrot? And how much
Yeah.
are they willing to pay to have the opportunity to play at that level? But you won't have as based on your execution level, the onus of whether or not they make it is not on you. It's on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're shifting that whole energy of, okay, hey, we're going to give you the space, we're doing this, we're putting it all there in that automated form for you. You're the one that needs to execute it.
Yeah.
And they either
Yeah,
make it or
man.
they don't.
Yeah. You know what's hitting me right now is that the model that you brought up before, I think like when you said leverage execution, like that really got my brain going. And again, I'm on this trip right now of like a live events, like how could we do be in that live event space? And listen, I get it. That might not be it, but like my mind is there now. And when I heard leverage execution, I heard media buying pop in my brain. So we don't do everything. And
Right.
then we do what you communicated, Bill, which was coaching. So I think the biggest thing, and the coaching is what is the upsell vehicle. So
Right.
we'll do your media buying, and then like to keep tabs on all these different clients and their teams, they come to some sort of coaching call, and then that's where we identify, yeah, we're doing the media buying, but how fast your sales team's getting to the leads? What's your post reg look? Like all this stuff, and
Exactly.
that,
Yeah.
yeah. So, hmm,
Yeah. I mean, you're more in that you have the execution package put together, but
yeah,
then you're in that consultant role where you're borrowing their watch to tell them what time it is.
exactly, yeah, and then upselling them, right?
Yeah.
Introducing them to things that are going to help them, right? Like because they're,
And well, the whole objective with it is somebody that wants to get up to that other level, right?
yeah, yeah,
But where somebody looks at it, I mean, it's like this company I hired for the coaching in England. Man, they have just gotten right on everything. They're getting ads going. They've got all the social media things done. They
yeah,
sent they sent me a list of scripts for about 24 uh Instagram videos, and
yep.
I knocked those out. I turned right around 2 hours later, sent them all back to them. I had them done, right?
Whoa,
You
nice,
know? Well,
yeah,
they gave me the scripts. All I had to do is shoot them with a teleprompter. It was very easy.
yeah,
A 30-second shot. I mean, I do enough videos, but so it's great. They've got that engine moving, you know, but like they wanted information for me. Boom. I gave them, I've got a ton of collateral stuff. Here it is. Here's this, here's this, here's this. Right.
yeah,
So it's a great marriage because um for me, because they're taking care of that whole piece, and I'm able to, move really, really fast on it.
yeah,
Um, and it's a win-win for the
yeah,
two of us. Now we'll see if the ads and they start turning out appointments like they say they can, but so far they've been right on top of it. And
cool,
so it's good. And the biggest deal between us is the relationship. There's a great relationship there.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's what you touched on. And that's where the weekly coaching, you do a meeting once a week where
yeah,
everybody can attend, and then you send out the recording.
yep,
Uh, but it's not if they want the one off, it's like, oh, well, you need to move up to the platinum level then.
yeah, yep,
But there's too you're all just too much looking at who it will work for, and that
yeah,
doesn't matter. It's more the thing I get very, very strongly on this is how do you want it to work to benefit you?
yeah,
That's really the question.
yeah,
And then how much of execution are you going to provide um, to get maximum leverage where you could have 200 clients in there?
yeah,
And then it doesn't matter, right? Because once
yep,
you see the numbers, there'll be a way to identify the avatar. But the avatar, I mean, maybe it's just financial spaces, but I don't think that matters. I think the thing that matters more than that, it's a company of a certain size, and it could be a
yeah,
law firm that wants to expand into other markets. It could be many different things.
yeah, yeah,
but they've got to have the ability to support all the things that need to be done,
Yeah.
because you guys aren't going to do it for them.
Yeah. Or we can. And they pay us a lot, which is media.
Well, I don't think that's true. Okay. I think that the path you would want, where you would be doing more for them,
Yeah.
would be because of their growth, not because of their neediness.
Yeah.
It isn't because uh it isn't going to be because they can't execute. It's going to be because whatever they've been doing is working, and they're like, "Oh, well, okay, we've got to handle this at a larger level now."
Yeah.
That's what you want out of it, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? How does
Uh,
this but how does this, and does it energize you?
the the what energizes me right now is where my mind has been probably for 20 minutes. And it's like, how do I get the event model to work? You know, like like the event target market. That gives me energy. It's like, and I think you identified it, because I'm not just selling a service to attorneys like that. That doesn't excite me. And even like Bill having 200 of them and like imagining that money coming into my pocket, it's not exciting to me. What's exciting to me is like, man, how could I get 200 event companies to pay us $5,000 a month to run their media and then do coaching, right? Like the package, the value stack is deliver them something, and there's 3, 5, and 8. So don't get me wrong, I'm not, there'll be all sorts of services in there, but it's like, what's that one thing that they all need? Let's sell that, and then let's layer coaching in, because it adds value, and it's a natural upsell. It's relationship build, like you said. It's that one to one
So so that would, when
that
you look
excites me.
when you right, and when you look at that, one of the other spaces that would be opened up to that would be the coaching business.
Exactly, because one thing is, not everyone is going to want to do an event. I get it, but that sort of gets a certain level of person in the game.
Yeah.
Everybody that does events, Bill, almost everybody, they have coaching, they have digital. So I feel like it's a unique bulkhead into the market.
Uh-huh.
You build the relationship. Oh, you do digital? Oh, we can help with that too. Over here, here's our sister agency, yada yada, or Medio Digital, right? So it's like, I don't know. I got the hit. It's all coming to me, and it's energizing and exciting. Now I'm a creator and know, like, that's my drug, right? Creating
Well,
these
no, 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 no.
these things.
No. There's a key element in this, is the event space, and
Yeah.
in the financial services
Yep.
would include the event space, wouldn't it? In the original
Yeah. Yeah.
discussions.
For sure.
So, like, there's a way that, again, you've got to identify this and find that one key element for the avatar. And so it's somebody that wants to do an event,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
because that immediately speaks to a certain amount of money. Like, it makes it very easy
Yeah.
to it makes it very easy to wrap what annual sales need to be around that, and then looking at growth and all the other things,
Yeah.
especially with all of your expertise in the event space.
Yeah.
I mean, that totally
Yeah.
makes sense.
There's a lot of bennies to it.
And that plays into what I've been talking about, and that is this is a uh you know a play on leverage execution,
Yeah.
and the leverage execution here is setting something up around the whole marketing plan around them doing that one or two events a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if that's what gets your juices flowing, that's the direction to go.
Yeah. You know, even if like I don't want to think of it as the lost leader, but compounding on the idea you said about coaching the coaching space, it's like even if like the guy doing one or like if we could crack the code on leverage fulfillment and it were somewhat profitable, not the highest profitable, but it gave us a relationship and opportunity to like sell them digital, right? Let's book appointments for you. Let's grow your information product business or whatever. Then there's a case for that too, right?
Well, it isn't as much about it's obviously about profits and making money, but truthfully, the reason you're even looking at this is because you don't have that um, secure foundation beneath Media O
Right.
to support the sale of the company.
Yeah.
So, I mean, revenues and profits matter, but what matters more is if you're working with 200 of these,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
And I can find 200 people doing events.
Yeah.
Find more. So,
I mean, you know the space.
yeah.
And this is different where, the big thing with this is your leverage and automated execution. So the burden of the success of what they're doing doesn't land on you guys. You're the symphony conductor,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So they've got to take the steps and do the stuff and do the work to get all that taken care of. The ads are
Yeah.
the ads. I mean, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
how does that feel to you?
That feels good. Feels good. It
How
feel
do you
it,
think will Joe and Shay sign off on that?
undetermined. I don't know. I don't know.
Can you How long would it take you to get 3 or 4 of these to come into proof of concept with you?
I mean, like not long at all. We still have to determine what that leverage fulfillment is, and I think that's where we're stuck with the other things. So, but I literally could get on the phone and say who's doing an event to my friends,
I mean,
and then call them.
you could really build this thing on the fly,
Yeah.
literally, because you call somebody up and say, "Look, we're getting in this space.
Yep.
You have to, and we can figure out how to explain it for the execution of it." Okay.
Yeah.
But again, when I met with one of those coaching companies and he said, "Yeah, it's you pay $7,500 and you get to meet with one of my people once a week. We'll help you design your ads, but you have to go out and do all the stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we only work with people, coaching companies doing 50,000 or more
Yeah.
a month, you know. And I'm licking my chops. I'm thinking this is very enticing
Yeah.
to be able to get that quality of input.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a huge space out there. Did I tell you about the appointments? I don't know that I shared that with you.
I don't think so.
How literally 2 appointments got killed about 5 minutes into them because the people I was talking to were so fucking rude.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You told me. Yeah, you did. You
I
told me
mean,
it was
after
one though.
what's that?
You only said there was this one dude who you hung
No,
up
there were
on.
2 in 1 week.
Oh, jeez.
And after the second one, I had to take a walk. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, what's wrong with me? It's like,
Yeah.
"No, we need to qualify you. We need to do this." I said, no, I made an appointment to hear about your coaching program. I didn't come in here to grovel and beg. And they were like, look, if you don't want to go through and give me all this information, we can just end the call. I said, well, then let's end it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And apparently, this is somebody told me this is this new sales thing that Russell Brunson's developed
Yeah.
of, going high, middle, this bullshit. But they were both. One was a guy, one was a woman, and I mean they were just downright rude.
Yeah.
That completely blew me off.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was
But
that's good.
what that tells me, and with all the ads I see, is there's a massive market out there for that.
Oh, well, there's a massive market of people like going after coaches, authors, speakers, like ad agencies, closing companies. I don't think there is competition of people trying to get event people, like event makers, event runners, promoters.
Well, I think that'll, with what these people are charging and the things that they're doing,
Yeah.
they can be converted to event people too.
Yeah.
Because the common talk is, no, we only, and I've been looking, going through those ads, a number of them. You got to be doing 50 grand a month to talk to us,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is really something. And I mean, there you go. There's numbers that you're looking for.
Yeah.
But if that's what really gets your juices flowing, what are the next steps for you?
I mean, it's to organize my thoughts and pitch Joe and Shay.
So it would seem to me that the key with Joe and Shay would be finding those people that you can set this up, automate this execution for, provide a coaching for them where they have significant potential to really grow their business.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the real play is for you, because that's kind of like getting to keep your cake and eat it too.
Say it again.
It's having somebody in the original discussions where the term plumber and everything else has come up.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's talked numbers. And what I've always said is this is a financial play first
Right. Right.
in the size companies you'd be working for.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about fits into that financial play where if you give them the right leverage, they could grow exponentially.
Yeah.
And they have the ability and the wherewithal and the know-how to execute to do that.
Yeah.
And where they could become a client for Medio. I mean, where that could happen.
Yeah.
Because again, that's to me is the number one. That to me is the big carrot on the stick when you talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So if that's a carrot on the stick, what does the makeup of that company have to be? And again, using the term plumber, tradesmen, attorneys,
Yeah.
doesn't even fit for me.
Yeah.
What does fit is, med spas and
Yeah.
places where there's big bucks involved,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not in the trades or.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is what gets your juices flowing and going after them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty jazzed right now.
And it would then become this hybrid of media O.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
It just right now it just feels right. When you talk about the energy of it, um, it feels right. It feels worth exploring. It feels like let's get some details would be the next step. What's on my mind right now is everything checks for me. Me energetically, it leverages. It'd be so damn easy to get on a sales call. Um, it just seems to flow. The only thing that is unclear is that what's that leveraged execution? What are we providing to them, and what does that profit margin, as much as we can know right now, look like? So if we're charging 5K a month, what are we providing? And then what's the profit on that? Because the TAM, the total addressable market, I mean, still like we can get to 200. So that box is checked. So it's really a matter of fulfillment. And where's the leverage in the fulfillment? I think that's what we don't want to do custom, or we can't do custom at that price point yet. Unless we figure out AI or something. But yeah,
And you could also keep in mind, and you've kind of alluded to this, but having add-on services.
oh yeah. And the sale is so easy. It's like, here's what to go do. Oh, you don't want to do it, or you don't have a CTO? Oh, great. We're going to do that for you, and we can do it one time. Or, like anything in life, you need maintenance. Like, you can go set up all your DNS records on your email thing, but like, if you're not looking at that stuff every month, you're screwed. Like, it's so natural. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you want to do it? Right, that's fine. Go do it. It's going to help you grow your business. Great. No pressure, just in alignment.
Yeah, and
It
it's a hybrid of media O, so you're
Yeah.
still in your you're still in your sweet spots as far as what you guys do
Yeah.
and the language you talk, and that's you're not having to cross over culturally into different channels.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And this if you could you put something together, we can take a look at it, and even if you could pull in 4 companies that would want to do proof of concept with you,
Yeah.
because I think that's what it's going to take to set it up.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
But again, I think it's important, it's going back to this relationship based, and
Yeah.
this to me is the biggest thing It's going to be the biggest thing in the market now because of AI
Yeah,
is going to be
yeah,
relationship,
yep,
authentic relationships.
yeah,
The reason for it is because everything's going to be moving so fast.
yeah,
And if you're the bada bee, bada bang, bada boom with AI, I think you're gonna bada bee, bada bang, bada boom right to the grave or out of business.
yeah,
You can't keep up with it. It's too and you'd bury your employees. I mean, it would be
yeah,
it's going to create some massive stress.
yeah. Eh, man, there's a lot of leverage here. I feel, leverages my speaking empire past. I remember we talked about. It's so interesting. Remember we talked about like you and me and maybe Christoph building an event for speakers or something like that.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like all
yeah.
that stuff. Like, remember, like if we're like this event community, because you just said the key word is relationships. I heard community as well. If we're coaching these people and we're building this community, it needs to be served, right? They need speakers, you need event planners, right? You're building an ecosphere, and maybe that's the big play for us, right?
Yeah, I would just let it develop.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't be, and you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
Yeah.
Um, but again, it's what it's more about how what is the structure going to be and how does that structure serve you? Not the
Yeah.
client, but you.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it's going to take a little playing around with to figure out.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is cool. Cool.
What's your takeaway with this?
Nothing really. Just kidding. um,
You take a look at that mind map again. I look at that, I'm like, we covered a lot of stuff, man.
so
That's
true.
nuts.
It is amazing to. I thought I had that same cognition. I'm like, damn, that's a lot of stuff. A lot of ground we've covered. Um, yeah, I mean, today it's about what I feel is like clarity and alignment, energetic. Um, that's what I feel, and being able to bring that to Joe and Shay and paint that compelling vision and future. Like
Mhm.
we can get like you. Here's what you stated. This was the desire to have 200 clients paying us 500. No one actually cares what client they are. And so let me paint this scenario that really leverages everything that we do. And it's just an extension of who we are. And so that messaging and that vision, uh, that's what I'm walking away with, Bill. And so my next step is to solidify that as much as it is to be solidified before testing, and then take that to Joe and Shay and say, hey, listen, we've been banging our heads up with capital raising, Shay saying attorneys, someone over here saying something else. And I said, what about this? This feels more aligned with who we are. So that's what I'm walking away with, Bill.
Yeah, I think for me the big thing is um how it energizes you.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
big thing,
yeah,
right? Because that's what
yeah,
you're really after.
yeah,
Um And that's great because that then gets you into the space, gets you moving, you gather the information. Uh,
Yeah.
and even if it doesn't end up being that, it's what gets you there, and you'll find the other pieces that work when you're
Yeah.
as you're developing it.
Yeah.
That's what's most important.
Yeah.
It's what will get you out of bed early in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All
Thank you, sir.
I'm gonna go through those other documents, and then I'll send you a link right to that file, and
Okay.
uh
Cool.
you can go through the briefing documents and everything. I just, chat, not chat, but Notebook LM does those things. So I'm like, oh, let's just do them. And I want to, but what I took where I had 6 coaching sessions, um, where I ran through, a consolidation of what happened in all the coaching sessions and put it into Notebook to get that information.
That's cool. Now, did you put the summaries from Zoom or did you put the actual transcripts of each call?
I put the summaries from Gemini. I ran them through Gemini first.
Now, how did you do that? Did you drop the audio file into Gemini and it created a summary, or did you
No,
get the?
I took the summaries from Zoom.
Okay.
I used those rather than the audio files.
Yeah.
Um, because I wanted to see, I'm trying to see what works, what gives the best. And I really like the Zoom AI. I like
Yeah.
theirs is it's very concise, it's very clean. Um, so I took that and ran that through Gemini, and then took that consolidation and put all of that into Notebook.
Now, I have a question for you. Why not put this is always my thought with the AI. Why not put the source of truth was the actual words spoken? So I can get like AI, or Zoom gives you the AI summary, just copy paste. A little bit of a pain in the butt for me, but I transcribe files, get this actual word spoken, and then run it through all that.
Uh-huh.
So I'm curious what you're thinking on the summary.
I don't have any thinking. I mean, that could be done also.
Yeah.
And the actual, I could take the full transcripts, um, from that and put it right into Notebook.
Yeah.
However, I felt like it might be too much information. I think I mean,
Ah,
I mean, Jesus, look at the mind map that I generated out of it from the consolidations, right?
right. Right.
So
Okay.
it's a matter of but I agree, and I mean I'll try it that way too. Um,
Okay.
but when I looked at it, we're catching all the points.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just hey, I've never dealt with this much information this quickly before, right? So
Yeah. You know, I never considered too much. I always just thought, oh, AI is intelligence. Give it everything. But I never thought about that. Like maybe that's a problem. Too much
well,
information.
well, you've got the extra step of pulling the transcription,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Totally.
Where I've already got the summaries,
Yeah.
and um and the summaries are, pretty long enough as it is,
Yeah.
I thought. Uh and I consolidated those, and then I took all the consolidations and put them into Notebook, because I
Yeah.
wasn't sure what it was going to come out with. I really like the mind map,
Yeah.
because that's just tremendous reference points. And I like I also really like the podcast. I thought that was
That is neat.
yeah, I mean, it's a great overview.
Yeah.
It's a great overview. So, I'm just like, what's effective, and what's the simplest thing to do on a regular basis that's going to give you the information how,
Yeah.
how detailed do you really need the information? Uh,
Right.
as far as the volume of having the entire transcript, um,
Yeah.
and all of that. So it's a matter of playing with it.
Yeah.
Um, and then I've got I'm really looking for, I didn't have time, a chance, to look at the briefing and the frequently asked questions and the study guide of it. So
Yeah.
I'll get those two. I mean, it's a lot of, the whole thing is a lot of information to go through.
Right.
And I mean, you enter it all in Notebook LM, and in 2 minutes it's all popped out, and you got all these documents, and it's like, Jesus, I mean,
Yeah.
you're looking at
Exactly.
it from three different ways to Sunday.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's just a matter of kind of playing with it. However, the other thing is too in Notebook LM is I've got a notebook for you.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I will keep adding to that notebook,
Love that. Bro. Love that.
right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool too. And the other thing, some of it is what, we're having conversations. Like I noticed some of the notes in there. What the hell are we talking about? I don't know. It wasn't football, but it was something else. And, so all of that's
Right. Right.
it ends up showing up in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So, uh, and I want to see what happens. Like when I take this one now and add that to Notebook, and then I'll compare it to the briefing docs and stuff that I've
Yeah.
got and see if when does the information become fresher? What is,
Yeah.
it's, there's just so much pinpoint accuracy with it. I'm just playing with it to see what's going to benefit us the most.
Yeah. I love that.
But it's cool stuff.
Agree.
Yeah, and I'll have I'll certainly have you link to that file by tomorrow after I
Okay.
go through and review the briefing docs and everything. But all of that's in there, and the study guide, and it's all questions about what happened in the coaching, and
Right.
so it's pretty fascinating.
Cool. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, Dustin. Thanks, buddy.
See ya.
Talk to you next
Bye.
week. Bye-bye.